Started it back up. We got 1851 to 1873. A little bit newer ones, 1854 to 1927, 1866 to 1929. Broken one. They died in 1871. Some 1818 to 1910. 1879 to 1910, 1821 to 1900, 1851 to 1933, 1881 to 1962, 1891 to 2000, or 19, that one doesn't have an end date on it, 1917 to 1922, 1892 to 1948. These have broken and fallen. At least I got them propped up. 1851 to 1868. Not very old. 1868 for the death. Can't make out the other one. Weird chain looking thing there. We've looked at that red one before. (1876 to 1894), 1875 to 1881, 1867 to 1871, and that one's all busted up. These are all newer ones in here. Oh, that one's all busted up too. 1835 to 1878. That thing's been sitting there since 1878, and somebody had to come along and knock it over. Shame on you. 1870 to 1938, 1833 to 1918, 1845 to 1922, 1858 to 1922, 1850 to 1931. Can't make that one out. Died in 1883, died in 1876. They both look kind of the same. Vowels, 1834 to 1914, 1845 to 1911, 1864 to 1914, 1827 to 1905, 1853 to 1924, 1854 to 1945. Big one here. I don't remember whether we looked at it or not. Got a big B on it. For birch. Yeah, those are newer ones. So that kind of answers my question. Somebody's been making those markers for a while. Those are all newer. 1995, 1988. Somebody's making that style. Let's see, and this one's curved in granite. (1876). 1806 to 1876. I want you to look at that thing. That thing is huge. These are all made out of granite. Now this one's got steps on the other side with the name in raised letters, all made out of granite. (1876 to 1965, 1864 to 1925, 1871 to 1904. (1867 to 1950, 69 to 54, 1891 to 1948, 1901 to 1904, 3 years old, 1905 to 1907, 2 years old, 1898 to 1920, 2 years old. No, I'm sorry, 22 years old. 1862 to 1940 and 1864 to 1954. They were 90. So that pretty little one over here, I don't know. I don't think we've looked at that one. $18 months on that one, missing the top. They were only 18 months old. Some late 1800s to early 1900s. Pretty stone, and I'm sure it's been there for quite a while. 78 years. 1838 to 1915. Goben, G-O-B-E-N. That's all it says on that. 1836 to 1916, 80 years old. Pretty good sized stone. Hutchcraft, 1824 to 1889. Missing the top of it. $1879. $1826 to 1888. 1833 to 1885. $1859, 1870 to 1926, and 1868 to 1951. Tommy Randolph, 1875 to 1876, just a year old. Pretty nice marker. 1858 to 1916, 1865 to 1960, 1856 to 1944, 1859 to 1933, 1883 to 1959, 1855 to 1878. Must have had a bird bath on it at one time. Dugan, 1812 to 1881, I guess. That's made out of marble. McMullen, 1853 to 1885. And I want you to know that stone looked like it was cut just yesterday if it wasn't for the dirt on it. That red granite seems to hold it good. Baby. 1875 to 1914. 1876 to 1918. 1855 to 1919. 1832 to 1919 and 1830 to 1901. (1851 to 1926). I think we've looked at the hair before. Hey, there's a jet spraying something in the air. I think we've looked at some of these down here. Carpenter, 1847 to 1906. 1902 to 1914, that wasn't very old, 12 years. 1865 to 1945. 1890 to 1933, I think. 1853 to 1886. 1823 to 1832, not very old. 1862 to 1925. 1870 to 1931. 1849 to 1928. And 1865 to 1948. Died within 6 months of each other. 1835 to 1898. 1844 to 1924. Hey, there's another one spraying something up in the air just to get it. 1914 to 2000, 1909 to 1991, 1877 to 1954, 1847 to 1914. Captain John Henry Letellier, born in Virginia, educated at Bethany College in 1861. He joined the Confederate Army, serving in Company K, 24th VA Infantry. Fought a Battle of Manassas. He was from 1842 to 1913. 1844 to 1912. 1814 to 1884. I've never seen that on a gravestone. Seaborn A. Carpenter, born 1870, murdered 1896. Yep, they're spraying all right. 1883 to 1976, 1858 to 1935, 1858 to 1908. There's probably a baby there. Neal, 1896 to 1904, not very old. 1884. $1842 to 1911, 1852 to 1924. And that one was curbed. I guess that's, it looks like granite, but it could be concrete. Stevens died at Whitesboro in 1877. Pretty. Notice how that stuff just starts spreading out. There'll be clouds here after a while. Chase Banks, 1874 to 1885. Born and died 1894, just a baby. 1849 to 1910, 1833 to 1907, 1877, 1905 to 1989, 1883 to 1975, 1856 to 1946, 1812 to 1886. Wallace says it was a priest. 1891. She was 76 years old. 1867 to 1914, 1829 to 1901, 1830 to 1886, 1872 to 1895, 1846 to 1886, tops broke. 1874 to 1902, 1869 to 1933, some newer ones. The marbled curb marker. The Texas sign here, 1834 to 1918, marble. I call it zebra marble. We've been out here recently. 1830 to 1907, 1837 to 1908, Fairchild. Olive Ann Oatman Fairchild, captured in Arizona at age 13, 1851. By Yavarapani Indians, who massacred 6 members of the family. Sold to Mojave Indians, she was treated kindly but bore mark of slave. Blue cactus needle tattoo on chin for rest of her life. Ransomed by Army at Fort Yuma, 1856. Lived in California, then New York. There she married J.B. Fairchild in 1865. About 1872, moved to Sherman, where her husband founded City Bank. Resided in Sherman until death in 1903. Interesting story. That big one there. I'm about to get back from lunch here in a minute. 1832 to 1903. 1873 to 1880. 1879 to 1880. Baby. A lot of babies out here in the 1800s. (1857 to 1891). Dillard. That's a big one there. And that stone looks brand new. That polished top. Sure holds its engraving. 1868 to 1950. We've seen some of these here. I'll get back out this week and look at some more of them. Still need to find that one that had the birth date in the 1700s. I hadn't found it again yet. Some have steps going up to it. 1835 to 1894. 1870 to 1938. Marble curbing. Pretty fancy steps. 1825 to 1900. 1897. 1890 to 1900. 1890. 1859 to 1941. Concrete curbing. Yeah, I'll have to come back. Hard to get all this in a lunch hour. There's lots of them out here, big ones. Makes you wonder how much money these people had. They had to be part of the controllers.